Hello everyone, and this is What If Deku Had Soul Leveling, Part 3. Now, let's continue. After that blinding flash of light engulfing Deku, whenever he woke up, would have found himself inside a hospital, and on a hospital bed. As whenever he woke up, he would have thought, where am I? Is this a hospital? Why am I... And before Deku can continue with his thought process, two men in suits would have walked in, saying, "Ah, you're awake." Them walking closer to Deku and saying, "I'm sorry if we surprised you." Deku saying, Who are you guys?" "Ah, that." The man handing over a card to Deku while saying, "We are inspectors from the Hunter Association," with the man continuing to inform Deku what happened in the days he was asleep. Yes, Deku was unconscious and asleep for 3 days. Deku, of course, being surprised to see that and/or to hear that he was asleep for 3 days. Him asking, Mr. Inspector, what happened to Mr. Kaido and Uraraka? Are they safe?" The man saying, "Yes, they are safe, but Mr. Kaido and/or Hunter Kaido lost his arm, which will of course most likely impede his work from now on, so he may retire if he chooses to. As for Hunter Uraraka, she's still getting treated due to her extreme trauma. It is uncertain if they will continue to be hunters." As the other man in a suit would have continued saying, "And other hunters like Yato..." "No, it's fine. That's enough." Deku, not wanting to hear the names and the conditions of those who betrayed him and/or basically left them to die without saying a word, he would have stopped the man from saying anything else, with the other continuing to say, "Out of the 15 hunters that went into this double dungeon, only 6 of you survived. Even though this may happen from time to time, a massacre like this occurring nowadays is very rare. However, strangely, when the inspectors and the hunter reinforcements arrived, the only thing in that room was you on the altar. There were no statues or bodies on the ground." As the other inspector would interrupt saying, "Now let's stop talking about the past. We're not here to inform you about what happened. We are here to confirm about a theory we have. We believe that you, Hunter Izuku Midoriya, have received the double awakening." Him having to take out a device and told Deku to put his hand on it. Deku, while putting his hand on the device, he would have said, "Is this a detector of some sort?" "Yes, this is a magic power detector." And just as the man said that, the result would have been revealed, him seeing that Deku has got basically a power level and/or a magic power level that is weaker than a normal E rank. Deku asking, "What's the result? Did I get a double awakening?" The man saying, "No, it just looks like we wasted our time." As after packing up, those two men would have left, which just as they left, Deku would have thought, really, nothing? Then can they not see that? Deku looking up and revealing that there is a window above him. It's saying, "Message, you have unread mail." Deku continuing to think, could it be that they cannot see it? As Deku would continue to check the injuries that he got from the dungeon, him checking his leg and his chest, him thinking, my torn leg is still here, and The hole in my chest is back to normal. Was that a dream? Or was it reality? Deku getting up from his bed and trying to touch that window. But whenever he did, nothing would have happened. Him thinking, so it's not a touch screen. Then how can I use it? Which Deku, after finding out that the window is not a touch screen, he would have just sit back down onto the bed. Him thinking, since it's not touch screen, is it controlled by my mind? With Deku continuing to try to think of ways to open the mailbox, which, after some unsuccessful tries, Deku would have said, why can't I just open the mailbox? Which, just as Deku said that, the mail would have opened, and the mailbox would have opened. Deku thinking, oh, voice control, with the words on the screen and or the window changing to, welcome player, unread mail, daily quest, preparing to become strong, has arrived. However, just as Deku was about to read that mail, that was when Mitsuki would have arrived saying, Izuku, are you alright? Which would of course surprise Deku, since he thought that the time for visitors is already over. And while Mitsuki is asking for Deku's health and is basically worrying for Deku, he kind of ignored Mitsuki, since his attention is currently at the doorway. And the person who caught Deku's attention is, of course, Bakugo. Bakugo having to say, so, you're awake. Good. You have no idea how worried she was. I'm sorry, Kachan. I should have been more careful, just like you said. Don't apologize to me, Deku. Apologize to her. Deku looking over to Mitsuki and just apologizing for being injured and reckless. As after talking together for some time, Mitsuki would have left, but Bakugo would have stayed behind saying that he have something to say to Deku, which Mitsuki actually lets, since Bakugo's attitude and or personality has changed, meaning that Bakugo wouldn't just throw explosions at Deku for being useless. Deku saying, what is it that you want to talk about, Kachan? Izuku, be honest. Why did you want to become a hunter? Deku, hearing Bakugo call him by his real name and not use as Nerd or Deku, he would have been surprised since the last time he heard Bakugo called him by his real name is like when he was 2 to 3 years old. Along with that, since Deku heard Bakugo call him by his real name, he would know that Bakugo is being serious, him saying, it's because I want to repay your mom. Huh, really? Is that all? That's the excuse you use every single time. You and I both know that becoming a hero has more of a stable income than becoming a hunter. If you want to earn money to repay my mom, then you could have just become a hero instead. Along with that, being a hero is more safe than being a hunter. So why? Why did you choose to become a hunter instead of a hero? Kachan, you know why my mom is stuck on a hospital bed, right? Yeah, it's because of that disease. It's called eternal sleep, right? Yes, and the real reason I want to become a hunter is because I want to find a cure for that disease. I want to save my mom. Bakugo, hearing what Deku just said, he would have actually smirked, him saying, you never change, do you? Deku, being confused, he would have said, huh? What do you mean? I mean what I said. You're always trying to achieve the impossible. First is trying to become a hero without a quirk. and second is trying to cure a disease that hundreds, if not thousands of doctors could not. Well, it's getting late. I'll be going now. But before I do go, good luck on trying to achieve that. As Bakugo would have left the hospital and or just go back home. And when Bakugo did left, Deku would, of course, after talking to both Bakugo and Mitsuki, been tired. But before he would go to sleep, he would check the mail that he was about to check. Which, just as he did, multiple screens and their windows would appear saying, "Alarm. The system will help the player's growth. Alarm. If he fails to obey the system's orders, there may be a penalty. Alarm. Your rewards have arrived." And after these 3 windows, a bigger one would have appeared, it being called Quest Directions. It's saying, "Daily Quest, getting ready to become powerful. Goal. Push-ups, 0 out of 100, incomplete. Sit-ups, 0 out of 100, incomplete. Squats, 0 out of 100, incomplete. Running, 0 out of 10 km, incomplete. Warning, failing to complete this daily quest will bring a punishment associated with this quest." And under that warning, there is a clock, and or a timer. However, Deku, being tired and also thinking that this is actually a joke, he would have just ignored those, well, warnings and or quest directions, him going to sleep. However, unbeknownst to Deku, the clock and or the timer that was underneath the warning would have been ticking while he was sleeping. And whenever the time is up, a new window would have popped up in front of Deku saying, "Alarm, you have not completed the daily quest. You are now heading towards the penalty zone for a certain period of time." And just as this window appeared, Deku would have been woken up by, well, basically the ground shaking. Him being confused, thinking that this is an earthquake. However, a few seconds later, Deku would have felt that the ground and or the surface beneath his hands has turned into sand. Him being confused as he would have found himself in a desert. Deku, while believing that this is all just a dream, he would have basically tried to snap out of it, but that was when he would have felt something behind him, turning around and seeing a giant, terrifying centipede with its name on top of it, saying, "Poison-fanged giant sand centipede." Just then, a screen would have popped up, saying, "Quest directions, penalty quest, survive, goal. Survive until the time runs out. Time required, 4 hours. Time remaining, 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 57 seconds." Deku, looking at the window and looking back at the giant centipede, and then looking back at the window, he would have thought, "You've got to be kidding me." And with that, the cat and mouse chase between those giant centipedes and Deku began. And yes, you heard me right, those centipedes. There's not only one, there's like at least 10 of them. Yeah, Deku is literally running for his life. If not, he'll be eaten alive. Now, we'll time skip to 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds later. With Deku having to be running for that entire time, he would of course been out of breath. And just as he was about to be eaten alive, a new window would have opened, saying, "Alarm, you have completed the penalty quest." And just as that window appeared before Deku, Deku would have been transported back to his original hospital room, where he would have landed onto the ground, gasping for air since, he's been running for 4 hours straight. However, after a few seconds of returning back to the hospital room, Deku would have lost his consciousness on the ground. Now, we'll skip to a few days later, and let's just say it's 4 days. Within those 4 days, Deku would have realized that those windows that appear in front of him is not an illusion and is real. Even though no one can see it, it is definitely real. Along with that, Deku found out that if you clear the daily quest, there are 3 rewards. The first one is status recovery, which can basically heal Deku's fatigue after exercising. As for the second, it is stat points, which literally means points that Deku can use to increase his stat, which, by the way, are strength, vitality, agility, intelligence, and sense. And if you're wondering what Deku's stats looks like right now, look at the screen. The last and final reward, the third one, is a random box, which literally gives you a random item. Items like rubber bands, pen, bandages, and stuff like that. And fortunately, Deku on his 4th day got a key, more specifically, a dungeon key. The information on the item will be on the screen. Deku, knowing that he is now stronger than before, he would have tried to challenge that dungeon, and/or instant dungeon. Him having to go to the location where he can activate that key on the same day he got it, as whenever he arrived at the location, he would have used the key, and after he did, he would have walked into that instant dungeon. However, to Deku's surprise, after Deku went into the dungeon, the way behind him, meaning the entrance, closed, basically trapping him inside the dungeon until he is able to either kill the boss or use an escape item. Deku, now trapped in this dungeon, which resembles a subway station, he would start to doubt himself, since the last time, and/or every single time that he went into a dungeon, even with a party, he got hurt, and not to mention last time, he almost died. Him realizing that, he would have thought, can I even do this? Just a week ago, I was struggling fighting against a E-rank monster. Not to mention, I had a healer on my party and still lost. Can I really clear this dungeon without a party? However, just as Deku finished that thought, Deku would have remembered his mom's face, more specifically, the smile on her face when she sees her little boy growing up. Deku, after seeing that, would have said, no, now is not the time to be unconfident in myself. I will clear this dungeon, even without a party. Not because I'm not scared, but because I must. To get stronger, this dungeon is nothing compared to that. I will get stronger, stronger than All Might. This place will not stop me from seeing her kind-hearted smile, nor would it stop me from feeling her warmth. Comparing this place to that statue's terrifying smile, this is nothing. Snap yourself out of it, Izuku. Don't let the past drag you down. This is your new beginning. Things will only get harder and harsher starting from now. As Deku, now being more confident in himself, he would have started to walk along the path of the dungeon. However, as time passes by, his so-called confidence starts to fade, along with an ominous presence wrapping itself around Deku and filling him with fear. Just then, a red beast would have leaped from the shadows and attacked Deku. Deku, being barely able to react in time, he would have just barely dodged the attack. With him now being faced with a monster, a red wolf named Steel Fang Raikan. Deku, who was once confident, is now struck with fear, no longer being able to move or think. He is only able to shiver with fear. And as the steel-fanged Raikan lunged towards Deku, it opened its jaw, jumping towards Deku and trying to rip his head off. Deku, while he is being stunned with fear, he was thinking, Why? Why can't I move? Is it because I'm scared? Is that it? Come on, move! If not, it'll kill you! Damn it! As Deku, with his willpower, he was able to move out of the way in the nick of time. With the wolf being inches away from his head, it bite down right next to Deku. However, while he was dodging, he found something strange about his own body. It's lighter. So light that Deku is now able to do a backflip, along with a front flip. As Deku now discovers his newfound strength, his battle against this Steel Fang Raikan begins. It beginning with Deku rushing in and giving an uppercut into the jaw of this Raikan, which, to the surprise of Deku, was able to send this Raikan flying and crashing into the wall. However, unsurprisingly, the attack had little to none effect on the Steel Fang Raikan. And as the Steel Fang Raikan leaped towards Deku, Deku would have sent a flurry of attack and/or punches. As to the expectations of Deku, normal attacks have little to no effect on monsters. Deku, realizing he had no chance of winning without a weapon, he would start to fall back, trying to gather a plan to defeat this Steel Fang Raikan. Now, after dodging another attack of the Steel Fang Raikan, Deku would have remembered something, him yelling, "Infantry!" As a window of Deku's infantry opens, he would have reached into this window and taken out a sword, Uraraka's sword. As with one single swing of this sword, Deku was able to slice this Steel Fang wolf in half, and was able to kill it. And as the sword landed inside the ground, two windows would have opened in front of Deku, them saying, "Alarm, you have defeated the Steel Fang Raikan. Alarm, you leveled up." Deku, after being able to successfully kill this Steel Fang Raikan, he would have been, of course, relieved. And just as he was about to cheer in victory, he would have heard sounds coming from behind him. Deku turning around, he would have saw two more Steel Fang Raikans, as he would have said, "Since now I have a weapon, I'm not scared of you anymore." And as Deku was trying to pull the sword from the ground, he would have realized that it stuck on the ground, and/or inside the ground. And while Deku was struggling to pull the sword free from the ground, those two steel-fanged Raikan would have leaped towards Deku. And just in the nick of time, Deku was able to free the sword and slash away at those two steel-fanged Raikans. But Deku, after successfully slicing and killing one of the two Raikans, the other one would have bitten onto the sword and basically, well, survived. Deku, seeing this, would have thought, He's not called Steel Fang for nothing, I guess. Deku, using all of his strength, he would have forcefully pushed the sword from the Raikon's mouth and, well, clean through the body and slice it in half. Now, after killing 3 of the Steel Fang Raikons, Deku would have checked the corpses of those 3 Raikons to see if he can get anything out of it. However, just as Deku touched one of the corpses of the Steel Fang Raikons, a window would have popped up saying, "Alarm! All the items acquired from this corpse has been transported to your inventory." Deku being a bit confused by this window, he would have opened his inventory to find a new item called Raikon's Fang. For more information on this item, look at the screen. Deku, realizing that there is a shop function, he would have tried to see what there is in the store. However, when he was trying to access the store, a window would have popped up saying, "Alarm! Your level is not high enough to buy from the store." Deku, being a bit disappointed, he would have just sold those Raikon fangs that he got, him being able to acquire 20 gold from just 1 fang. Now, after organizing the items he got, Deku would have checked his stats, him finding out that whenever he levels up, every single stat goes up by 1, causing Deku to realize that leveling up is more efficient than doing daily tasks and/or daily quests, since leveling up gives Deku 5 stat points, and daily quests only give 3, as Deku, with the realization of if he wants to get stronger, he needs to farm levels, he would have stood back up and grabbed onto the sword that Ochako gave him, looking towards his right and seeing a pack of Steel Fang Raikons, saying, "There's nothing to fear, since I'm pretty sure I've already died before, so come on and fight me, you freaks. I need those levels." As after Deku said that, he would have charged towards the pack of Raikons, having to slash and hack away at every single Raikon that he sees, while leveling up, that is. Now, I believe that this will be a good place to end this part. If you guys want part 4 to this what if, then help me reach 35 likes on this video. If it does, then I record and upload part 4 to what if Deku had solo leveling as fast as I can. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and have a nice day.